You should be seeing, did you get the notice that it's being recorded?
Yes.
All right, great, thank you. All right, well, thanks for joining us, everybody. So we try to get the faculty who teach online together once or twice a year just to kind of give them an update on what we're working on in e-learning and what's coming, so that they're not taken by surprise when some changes occur. And there were a couple of things that we felt it was important to discuss with you, so I appreciate you taking the time. This is our agenda. I want to check with you to see your thoughts and your observations about Canvas. I want to share with you our plan for making courses available to both you and students going forward. We're making some slight changes based on the old schedule that we used to have with Blackboard. I want to make sure that that's going to work for you as the teaching faculty. I also want to share with you some current initiatives, just to kind of get your thoughts on them, and so that you know that this is the direction in which we're moving. And then get your thoughts on the next big project that we in e-learning have to tackle, that while it may not affect you, it will affect the colleagues who may follow in your footsteps about teaching online. Okay? And then any other items that you want to add to the agenda that you have questions about, you have a great team assembled here who can probably give you the quick answers. Okay? So with that, how are things going in Canvas?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
I'm okay. The only, maybe I bring this up. The
Please.
only thing that I did not get it so far is that when I make a test or an exam request, is this a time or place to talk about this thing?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, okay. When I do a test or an exam, okay, and usually I put the answers and I hide it from the students until they finish the exam or the posting time is over. How they can go back and see the right results that I keep in?
That's a good question. I think you, Marquita, tell me, or Sonia or Bethany, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you have to go back and remove the setting that has it hidden. Is that correct?
Yes.
I do. I remove the setting, okay, and if I leave the I remove the setting the flag I set it on. And then when I go to the test as a student, okay, I cannot open the exam because I having the posting date or the publish date ended. So when I change that posting date extended, the student, they can see their answers, okay, and they're able to see the other one, but they can edit also the answers.
Oh, they shouldn't be allowed to edit the answers at all. So,
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We can take a look.
Yeah.
Is this one of your current fall classes?
Sorry again, I'm sorry?
Are you seeing this in one of your current fall classes?
No, I have this problem since I started working on Canvas and I could not figure it out. There's only one issue I could not figure out. Other things, I'm okay.
Okay, we'll look into that and see exactly see if we can troubleshoot it a little more fully for you. If you're removing that parameter that's hiding that should make it available, and they shouldn't be able to go in and edit the test, but we will research that a little bit more.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So we created the template. There's a screenshot of it up here on the slide. We're going to be going back through and meeting with your colleagues in the departments to see if there's any things that need to be tweaked or changes that need to be made about the template. So far, the response on the template has been pretty positive. Students seem to like it. It looks great on the mobile devices. Any thoughts or feedback that you have for us on the main landing page template?
I think it works good.
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, I think it works fine. It's getting down into some of the detail things that I guess I'm just still learning, but at least from the main page, it works fine.
Okay, good. All right.
The main page is fine. Okay, my comment on it, maybe if that does the pictures, okay, they need to be sized a little bit smaller to allow display as much as one for each model. And usually we have about 16. So the size of the picture, I resize all of that. I'm done. I'm just saying maybe for other people who don't like to have a huge pictures, okay, for each module.
Okay.
And you have to scroll down all the way down, and that could be also a problem for the students. But I was able to change the size in such a way that as much as many of the pictures, okay, under the name of the module, okay, to be displayed. Because I go to the HTML file, you know, the HTML,
Okay.
and I go and I edit it, you know. So, but maybe that doesn't bother anybody else, but.
And that
Okay.
may be something we put out on eHelp too, not only how to change it and how to link it, because our eHelp website for Canvas for faculty has how to edit that template and add your own pictures, but maybe we put in there how to actually size it down if anybody wants to know that as well.
I'm good. I'm just trying to share it with you.
Right.
No, fine.
That's very
Great.
helpful. Thank you. Professor Shamir, any thoughts on the template?
It works. The only issue that I had, but now it's okay, it's with the rubrics,
Okay.
but I figured it out.
Okay.
So yes, apparently, even if you save the rubric, you still need to put the grade in manually.
Oh, in the little box.
Yes,
Yeah, I
which
can
is
probably
different
look-
from Blackboard, but I
Yeah.
figured that out, so it's okay now.
Okay. All right. Good.
So now it's fine. I
Right.
was grading like a couple of, and then I said, oh, where is the grade? And then I said, okay, so yeah, so you save it, but still you have to put the grade in the, yes.
Yes.
So I think for faculty who is using rubrics, they should be aware of that.
I think I want to check the settings in your course. I think if you say use this rubric for grading, I think it will automatically tally the points, but I think you still
Yes.
need to have submit or save.
It will tally the points for the rubric, but then I need to put the number in the small
The
area.
grading box?
Yes, the grading box.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I'm glad you were able to work through that.
Yes, yeah,
Good.
so.
And everybody, just very quickly, you all realize that we here have 24/7 online support from Canvas. So if you get stuck on anything or have a question, all you have to do is to go to the Global Navigation and Help, and there is an actual telephone number that connects you to a Canvas support rep 24/7. So, and they've been very positive and very responsive.
Yeah, they have been very great. Very great. Great.
Thank you. That's a good idea. Thanks. It's too late now for a lot of things.
But just in case you may need it in the
We
future.
already
Marquita gets mad when I
went through the
call
hard
her.
time already. It's too late. I think we can teach them now. I think they can route their call to us.
Marquita gets mad when I call her at 3 o'clock in the morning, so she's very happy that I can call Canvas support now.
I would. I would.
Yeah. So welcome, Professor Kim, Professor Polly. I think I saw Dr. Azar joining us. Yes, yay, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time. Okay, great. So for those of you who have been teaching online with us for a while, you might have heard us talk about master course shells. These are the snapshots that we take in, it used to be Blackboard, it's now Canvas, and make those, pre-populate those into the online classes that you teach. The idea behind it is we will load as much of the content that's available for those courses so that when you're getting ready to teach in the next semester, there's less work that you have to do to get your course ready. The things that are reused are already there for you, and then you can just focus on what you need to do to prep it for that specific semester. We are about 70% through building all of the master course shells, converting them all from Blackboard into Canvas. Obviously, we've been doing those as the semesters need them. So for those who volunteered in last spring, we worked on those. Then we focused on the courses that were being taught in summer. This semester, we focused on the courses that were being taught in fall. And now we are switching gears to those classes that are scheduled for next spring. So if you are scheduled to teach online in the spring, one of us will probably be contacting you to say, okay, we're going to be moving the material over from Blackboard. We're going to get it into Canvas. We might be asking for your help to make sure that we're bringing over the right things. This might be an opportunity to update things. I always use the analogy that when I've only moved a few times in my life, but it was a good time to clean out the attic and get rid of the stuff that I no longer needed and kind of free up space. So if we're going to be moving courses over for this coming spring, it's a good time to just make sure that we have everything set the way you want it to be, because then we're going to take a snapshot of that course, and that's going to be the new Canvas Master Course Shell. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, and for those of you who are teaching the first time this semester, like Matt, I'm going to work with you, make sure the course is exactly the way you want it, and you've got everything set up, and that we fix any of the bugs that you encountered that things didn't work for you. And then I'm going to take a snapshot of that, and then that will be all set and ready for you to go the next time you teach the Bridge Design course. So the idea is that each time you teach the course, there are fewer and fewer things that you have to construct. Okay.
Hopefully.
You all, I know you well enough that you always tweak and you always update and you always bring new things, which is wonderful. It's what makes you good faculty and makes our courses so good. But if we can minimize even just a few things, we're happy to do that. Okay. Which gets me to this slide. So again, for those of you who've been teaching with us for a while and you were used to Blackboard, we'd worked with IT, and there was a coordination between the semester start and end dates and the dates that were set up in Banner, and those dates determined when you and students would see classes in Blackboard and now Canvas. So we've made a couple of changes to the schedule, and we wanted to share them with you. So each semester there is a semester start date. In this particular coming up for the spring, the semester begins January 14th. Our team, eLearning, will have access to those online course sites in Canvas 6 weeks prior to the start of the term, which is going to be right around Thanksgiving, November, probably November 26th. IT will make those course sites available to us. We will have 2 weeks to pre-populate that course content that we have in our master course shells or from previous course shells to get things in there for you. We've given ourselves 2 weeks to get all of that stuff preloaded. Then you will have access to those Canvas course sites 4 weeks prior to the semester. So around December 10th, you will all get an email from my office saying, classes are in Canvas, we've uploaded what we have, take a look, let us know if we've missed anything, if we need to make any changes. It's yours to post your syllabus and make any changes that you want. It's yours to have fun. Students will have just view-only access to the course 2 weeks prior to the semester. So on December, right around New Year's Eve or New Year's, students will be able to get into the courses. And I am consistently surprised to see how many LTU students are actually going into Canvas 2 weeks before the semester to see what's posted. They're looking for the syllabi. They want to know what lies in store for them. I'm always shocked, full disclosure, at the number of hits these courses are getting 2 weeks prior to the start of the semester. And then obviously when the semester starts, students will have access to it and they'll be able to get in and start interacting with you and each other in the course content. So my first question to you is, 4 weeks before the start of the semester and 2 weeks before students get in. Is that workable for you as the online teaching faculty? Any thoughts on that?
I think the time is reasonable for if you already taught this course before, use Canvas, so the amount of time will be reasonable. But if the teacher or the instructor is the first time for him is gonna work with this on Canvas, I don't know, that question has to be answered by people new to Canvas, gonna teach the course live. If 4 weeks is enough or not. But for previous classes, that should be okay.
Keep in mind that if it's a new faculty, they start working with us well in advance of the semester, and they probably have a development site that we've been working with them up until this to get the content together. But your point is well taken. We don't want to wait till 2 weeks prior to the start of the semester to get them the content. You're absolutely right.
Well, the time is going to be different from one person to another anyway.
Right.
For me, I'm slow. So I need more time.
We're not slow. The sooner the better for me, but we also need to, we're still like for right now for spring semester, we're seeing classes added and canceled all the time, and registration starts next week, I think, maybe in 2 weeks, and departments are still adding and removing classes. So we kind of have to wait for that to settle in Banner before we can get the Canvas sites available. But we're working on it. Okay. The other change that's occurring with the move to Canvas is access at the end of the semester. So if you recall in Blackboard, pretty much at the end of the semester, students things were done. You couldn't really see much. Students the request was made from the faculty that we keep the Canvas sites open just a little bit longer in case students have to still submit some final work. So those classes will still be open for students to monitor grades, faculty to give feedback, for that interaction to occur 1 week after the end of the semester. After that, students do no longer have write access to the course. And faculty no longer have write access to the course, because that's when we consider the course is now done and we're going to just close it off. But you also would get an email from Marquita reminding you to export the course so that you didn't lose the material. You won't be getting that email any longer. You don't have to worry about that in Canvas. The course will stay in your class list, even in your completed class list, for right now, indefinitely, until we have to deal with space issues. But so far, Canvas has said that's not usually a problem for institutions of our size. So you don't have to worry about that extra step of archiving your work. Your course will be available to you under your completed courses section of Canvas, which we think is a really good thing. You will have access to things as you need them.
Are these courses being archived or reside on Canvas Company or LTU computer system?
It's on Canvas's cloud system.
So it's like on a cloud.
Yes. We used to host our own Blackboard courses, but Canvas is hosting all of these for us. So it's their space we're using. Okay.
So also be aware that the classes will still be there. Your grade information will be there. The student information will be there. It's just the fact that you won't be able to write anything to that. But the classes, the information will still be available to you.
That's a big change, and we're thinking it's going to be very helpful. So for those of you that are asked maybe a year after a course is concluded to respond to a grade dispute or to provide some data for assessment, it's still going to be there for you. Okay. Anything else on this slide? We're good? Okay.
Workable.
So I want to just share with you a little bit about some kind of current initiatives that we're seeing that are kind of interesting. So one of the things that we were kind of exploring a little bit more is the use of synchronous or live sessions in online classes. LTU's online classes were, when LTU first started to offer the online degrees, all of the courses were designed to be completely asynchronous. We recorded lectures, we put together content, we built them in Blackboard, and students had a week or however many days an instructor allocated to complete the work, submit assignments, and then the next module opened and so on. And they worked through those modules, but it was rare that the class came together to meet as a class. A year ago, the College of Architecture and Design started requiring synchronous sessions in their courses. They started actually scheduling time in Banner. So when if you remember, if you looked at an online course in Banner, there was no day of meeting, there was no time of meeting, it just said OL. Now if you look at College of Architecture and Design classes in Banner, even though it says OL, it might say Tuesday, 6:30 to 9:30. Still says OL, but what they've done is that they've scheduled that time, they've kind of put it in as a calendar holder so that students registering for that course know that they need to be available on Thursdays at 6:30 throughout the semester as needed, because there's going to be some synchronous meeting times. They're using Zoom, what we're meeting in right now. Some faculty also, as Professor Albathi said, use Hangouts. There's multiple tools that can be used. But they did this, their intention for doing this was basically tied to their studios. Students needed to share work. There needed to be conversation and dialogue and debate about different ways to approach certain design decisions. And that couldn't get done in something like a static discussion board. There needed to be the facial expressions and the gestures, and they screen share and they show drawings and they show renderings and they talk about, well, what if you change this and what if you change that? It was able to get them to that kind of deeper conversation that led to higher levels of learning. So that's what they started doing, and what they've been doing it for about a year now. And what we started noticing in e-learning was there was a slight increase in the course evaluations. Now I want to put this in a context. This is not an honest to goodness rigorous statistical analysis. This is just some descriptive data that is making me kind of go, okay? Our online courses are consistently highly evaluated. You do a great job in delivering instruction to students. They're very pleased with the product. They give our faculty and our courses high marks. We're really happy about that. So we're out of the LTU range of 0 to 5, we usually are in the 4 range. So to see a slight increase from a 4.025, for example, to a 4.25 is a small increase, probably not of statistical significance, but we're seeing it consistently among those classes that have those synchronous sessions. It might be because the students already know the faculty, they already know each other, they already know the content, there's some existing familiarity that just makes things a little more comfortable. But we're not only seeing an increase in the overall course perception and the way the course was designed, but we're seeing an even greater increase in the perceptions of the instructor effectiveness. So just wanted to share that with you. And even though it might not look much from a quantitative perspective, when you look at the qualitative data, we're seeing things on evaluations, like I felt like my professor knew who I was. And if you've taught online before, or you've ever been a student online, very often there's this sense of isolation. I don't have those warm, fuzzy connections I get from sitting in a room with a bunch of people for a couple of hours. But the online students who are in these synchronous sessions are making comments like, I feel like my instructor knew me. I feel like I knew my other classmates. They weren't just a name I saw on a discussion post. In one of the evaluations, a student expressed how they were surprised that an instructor greeted the student by name in the live session, because we get to know each other because we're seeing each other on the camera and hearing each other's voices. And that they were able to work with their fellow classmates in collaborative ways. So it was the qualitative data that also got our attention a little bit as well. The other thing, in talking to some of the faculty who are using synchronous sessions, out of those conversations came some other interesting kind of unintended consequences. Having these synchronous sessions and having conversations with students around work, faculty said that they were able to do more what we would call authentic assessment. So I can talk with a student and I can have a student explain their rationale for doing a project this way, or calculating the answer to a problem in a particular way. What was the decision for doing X instead of Y? And through that conversation, the instructor said, I could tell if the student really got it or not. I could actually see the light bulb or the lack of a light bulb. Another instructor shared that it was really interesting in a live session to ask a student some follow-up questions about an exam and have the student not be able to answer even the basic questions in a live session, which made the instructor think, oh, the student must not be getting it. I thought, she was, she's not. I'm going to go back and look at the grades. Well, the student was scoring a high range, high performing on all of the online assessments, but not able to answer specific questions in a live class. And that was a red flag, or a warning bell went off for the instructor that he needed to go and do some further digging with the student to make sure the student wasn't cheating, that the student was truly learning the material. If there wasn't for those live sessions, he might not have known that. So we're hearing some of these, what I call these unintended consequences, these little things that are coming out of these live sessions that were not at all related to the reason why they were implemented. So I wanted to share this with you to see, and again, we've got this expanded way, we've expanded the use of Zoom, which gives you some more functionality. If Hangouts is working for you, that's great, but we do have more Zoom licenses if you are interested in incorporating some more live sessions and want to use Zoom. But I wanted to share with you that these live sessions are available for you to use. We can help you test them. We can help you find the right tool for them. And I know a lot of you have already we've been doing virtual office hours. Sometimes you do have those live sessions for you just to do introductions and do a syllabus review. But there are lots of other ways that you can use these live sessions. Doing a practice walkthrough before a project is due. I'm going to be online for an hour. I will answer any questions you have about the upcoming exam, to not only bring down stress or tension, but also do some practice runs with them. Or instead of doing it before an assignment, doing it after an assignment, after everyone has gotten the exam or the assignment back, to do a debrief. These were the common mistakes I saw a lot of people making. I want to talk about those mistakes so we can make sure everybody understands it. Instead of having students record the presentations, have the students give them live via Zoom. This is the way the world of work is going. We all teleconference and we all do these kinds of things like we are here tonight. It's a way to get students involved in this as well. Some of you are doing this. Can you chime in and share any of your thoughts on how these live sessions are working, or in Matt's case, not working because Zoom is frustrating?
Well, so I've got our midterm for bridge design is tomorrow night, and I'm doing it in person. And there's one person that's in New York that can't make it, obviously. So we did an online collaboration session at the end of last week, and we did an hour. And yeah, we had some technical difficulties, but the only problem was I couldn't share my screen. Everybody was able to call in to the phone, and then they could see me on the screen. And what I did was I went down, I got 14 students. I just went down the list, asked them if they had questions, and I kind of poked them a little bit and said, look, if you don't have a question right now, chances are a question from one of your classmates something's gonna pop into your mind. and we went an hour, and it was really good. And then I followed up with kind of a follow-up. Just I do a video each week of what we're doing in the course, and some of the feedback that I got during our online session I put into a video to help them study for the exam this week. So coming from, this is my first time doing an online course, and coming from a place where I really like standing up in front of them and having that interaction, that to me was a nice connection.
Good.
To the disconnect that sometimes is the online course.
Good. Yeah, we tend to worry about the students feeling isolated. We feel that way too sometimes.
Yeah.
We like those warm fuzzies too. So if you're interested in trying this, let us know. We'll be glad to set you up with a Zoom account and help you test it. I would encourage you, if you want to try it, to pick something kind of focused. So focus on assignment, or as Matt shared, a prep for an exam. And if you have a big class, I would encourage you to do shorter, smaller sessions. Break the class in 2, break the class in 3, meet with group 1 for a half hour, and then take a break, and then group 2. If you have a really large group, it's hard to get that interactivity, and people can hide. And you also have every right as a faculty member to say, I want cameras on. I want to see that you're attending. I want to see your eyes. I want to see the facial expressions. I want to see that you're engaged in these live sessions. I know the studio faculty put that right in their syllabus. Cameras have to be on. They don't want the students to turn off their cameras and then be on the other screen watching Netflix. So they want to make sure that they're engaged. So set those expectations very clearly in the syllabus, and then hold students accountable to them. And some faculty choose to make them required. This is a way that we come together as a group and learn from each other. They're going to be there. They don't have to be every week. You can determine in your syllabus where they make sense, where they're appropriate, where they're relevant. You can schedule them, and you can tell students there's 3 of them throughout the semester. There's 5 of them throughout the semester. I expect you to attend them. They're worth points. Maybe they're not worth points, but you have every right as a faculty member to set up what works for you in your course. Okay?
And I have a question.
You bet.
So if I am doing my on-campus class and I'm recording it, is there a way to send the link to my online student? Is there like a steady link, or is it a new link every time you start the new session?
It depends on how you do it, Dr. Azar. You've got some options with how you do it in Zoom or how you do it in Hangouts. I'm sorry, I don't have a specific answer. You can do it either way, but you have to set it up that way.
All right, so right now what I'm doing, and maybe I can talk to you offline, but what I'm doing is going through YouTube and then do the Google Hangout, but it seems like I get a new ID every time.
Right, so we just need to we either need to work with you to set up a Google room that is yours specifically, and that's a persistent link, but that's not going to be what we probably do for the recording is set you up a channel and then load your videos to that channel. So all students would have to do is go to that persistent link for the channel, and then all your videos would be there.
Okay,
so
thank you.
I'm recording this meeting, and I will probably upload it to the eLearning's YouTube channel and send you a link, or send out a link to anyone who wants to watch this. That's, to me, the easiest way to do it, but there are lots of options.
All right, thanks.
Anybody else? Great.
Yeah, I can mention. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
So now I know you can hear me, so that's good. I also use the Google Meet. I don't know if anyone ever used it. It's very easy to use. I can same things that you mentioned you're using in your Zoom or Google Hangout. So I do everything you just said you're doing in my studio. No problem at all. Very easy to use. So.
And how do you like it? Do you feel like you have a more of a connection with the students than if you didn't have those live sessions?
So we do using Google Meet, we do presentations, group presentations, individual presentations, everything you bullet pointed, the bullet points you mentioned, I'm able to do all of those in my Google Meet session every week, 1 hour session plus. So
Great, great. And I see Professor Henneberry has joined us. I know she's doing this a lot too. She's been one of the leaders in doing the live synchronous sessions too. She's been doing that for a while. So, all right.
I'll just jump in really quickly. My design theory class this semester, we have 32 students. And so for my online session, what I did, and we'll see how it works since I'm right in the middle of the semester, but I did break the class into 3 groups. And instead of having all of the groups meet for each module, I have 2 of the groups meet and one presents and the other responds. And then I have the entire class meet both at the beginning and at the end. So we frame the course, and then I hope we'll have sort of a summation at the end.
Okay.
And so far it's working pretty well. It's still, 18 students, 19 students, but if 9 of them are actively presenting for the hour and a half with the other group responding, so far it seems to be generating a really positive dialogue. And so I think I'm going to keep trying to fine tune that and see if, because my biggest concern is in the larger group, it's difficult for every voice to be heard. But since I make it a requirement that everyone within that group contributes a couple of slides and has a focused reading that they have to contribute, so far I feel like I'm able to kind of balance out the more active voices. But that continues to be something that I'm working on.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. It's finding what works, and it's different for every course, and it's different for every instructor, and sometimes it's even different from every week to week based on the content. So just finding what works, that's the key thing. Those of you who've been with us for a while, remember last year we partnered with a company out of Atlanta called JMH to help us market online programs throughout the country. They are delivering very impressive results. Our online course enrollment is up just under 15% for just students who are solely online, not coming here to campus, just those OL students. We are very fortunate, very pleased to see that in the trends in higher education where enrollment is trending down and online programs are either going down or staying steady. We're very happy with the 15% increase. And that's just since January. And we already have, I believe there were 33 applications in process currently. So those are good numbers for us. But as we're seeing those new students come in, more and more of these students are, like Matt said, from out of the local area. We're used to the online students being here in southeastern Michigan, so they could come to campus when needed, or they were here on campus already. A student in New York isn't going to be able to come to campus. And many of our faculty who teach online have very legitimate concerns about academic integrity and making sure that students are the students in our classes, the right students are doing the work, and that they're not cheating or taking advantage of anything that they shouldn't be using in completing the assessments. So we've heard you, and we've been working this past year to look at options to address some of those concerns. So I want to share with you a little bit about what we've been put into place. So for those classes that are online and you have assessments and you are concerned about how we are going to maintain the integrity of those assessments, you've got a couple of options. For students who are local, you as a faculty member can require them to come here to campus to take a test. You can set the day, you can set the time, you can set the parameters. You can come to campus and proctor it. My only tip would be you want to make sure that we have a room for you because your class is online. We're not going to have a space for you, so work with us or work with the department to make sure we can reserve a room for you. If you can't proctor the test, work with my office and we will come up with it, someone to proctor the test for you. We want to make sure we know the parameters, what's allowed, what's not allowed, make sure that we know the difference between a formula sheet and more extensive notes. We want to make sure that we can be effective proctors, but we can coordinate that here on campus for those students that want to come here. For those students that aren't able to come here, we work with their local institutions, local libraries, public libraries in their home communities, community colleges in their home communities, universities in their home communities. We will contact their academic achievement centers or their testing centers and see if they will help proctor the test on our behalf. So far, I have not been turned down from one call that we have made. We're all in this together. We help each other out. And then what I do is work with the faculty member to get the parameters for the test, to get the test, and work with that proctor in another library, another university to proctor the test under the approved conditions. They get it back to me or directly to the instructor. That's another option. If none of those options are appropriate, we have also researched multiple online proctoring companies. We've looked at our favorites are ProctorU and HonorLock. We just finished a 2-semester pilot of HonorLock. So let me show you a little bit about HonorLock. HonorLock is web-based and it integrates with Canvas. So we would work with you to deploy the test as it normally would be deployed in Canvas, but there's an HonorLock layer that goes on top of the test, and the student has to go through whatever parameters you have deemed appropriate for the test. So for example, student might have to show their identification to the camera and look in the camera so that you can verify that it's Lynn, here's my driver's license, and here's my picture, so that there's no chance of me getting my husband, who is the engineer, to take my engineering test for me, okay? I also have to do a room scan with my camera and show that there's no one else in the room. I have to take a scan of a live scan. All of this is recorded of my desk and what's on my desk. The entire event is recorded, both the audio and the video, so that there's no chance someone is over on the other side of the room feeding me answers, because it's going to come through on the audio recording. You can lock out browsers, so I can't open another tab. It records my screen. So it's very clear on what I'm doing. It will detect if another monitor is plugged in either by any HDMI or USB. It will detect another display device and will prompt the student. The test won't open until all of those are removed. Again, it will record the entire event. When we did one pilot, the test with a civil engineering, student had to write out answers and then scan it back. And we had several students that said, you know, my scanner is in another room. And we said, okay, fine. You need to hold the test up to the camera so that we can take a screenshot of the papers, and it better be scanned in like 60 seconds or 120 seconds. And there should be a match between what I'm looking on the paper and the electronic copy that I receive. All of those things, I will tell you, don't make it impossible for a student to cheat, but it makes it an awful lot harder. And again, all of this is recorded. And then the HonorLock people review the recording. And if they see anything that's questionable, they literally put a flag at the 3-minute, 47-second note of the recording. And they send the instructor a report that said, Lynn shuffled papers that we were a little concerned about at this point in time. Look at the recording. And then you as the instructor can say, Lynn, what was going on here? And you can use your judgment as the instructor to say if it was appropriate or inappropriate and then respond accordingly. It is $10 a test. At this point, my office is covering that because we want to make sure that these students who are coming to us from other states, that they're not added another layer of cost just because we want to have these assessments. If we move further down this path, there has been conversation about we might have a lab fee or an exam fee associated with those courses that engage this. But for right now, it hasn't been exorbitant. There are a couple of courses that feel strongly about this, and we work this in. But I wanted to share with you, this is one of many options that are available to you. The best thing to promote academic integrity is to have a rich and varied assessment plan. Lots of different kinds of assessments, lots of different kinds of projects, live sessions, the things so that you get to know the student and the student's skills. That's the best thing you can do. But we did want to share with you that we heard your concerns about this. And so far, this seems like a pretty good solution. If you want to move down this path, have proctoring. We support you 100%, but there are a couple of things that I really need to ask you to do. You have to communicate the requirement to the students. That has to be in the syllabus, big, bold print, no questions. You can't right before the first exam tell students, oh, by the way, you have to make arrangements to have this test proctored in a library. We can't do that to our students. They're busy as well. So make sure it's in your syllabus, that it's posted in Canvas, that when you do your orientation or your first week review of the course, that you spend some time explaining this and what your expectations are. That if you're going to allow students to have it proctored at another institution, that you work with us to make sure that we're communicating to that institution what's appropriate. Can the student use notes? Can the student not use notes? Those kinds of things a proctor may not know unless we inform them. Coordinate with us to arrange that. And if you're going to do the honor lock proctoring, we need to know that well in advance, because not only do we help you build it, we'll build it for you in Canvas with your test, but I really like to do a practice test with the students that is a mimic of your tests. So for the pilot that we just finished with civil engineering, we actually had the student do a little quick 5-minute honor lock test, walk through all of the steps. They could test their technology, they could test their webcam, they could test their microphone, they could test their scanner, they could test everything so they knew exactly what to expect for the first exam. Okay?
I have a question.
You bet.
Our chair requires all online students to take the final exam on campus or to be proctor.
Mm-hmm.
So last semester, I had a couple students that had to take the exam at a community college. Do you cover those costs for community college?
I would reach out to the community college and see if the community college would do it without cost. It depends on how Dr. Nelson has set up the requirements. How it's been communicated to the students. Is the student paying the fee right now?
The student pay the fee, but we're reimbursing them. But you mentioned that you have some funding for this other tools that you pay $10. So that's why I'm asking, do you reimburse students if they take the exam at a community college and there's a $30 or $35 charge?
I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about that, because we've purchased a package of sessions through HonorLock. If the test could be given through HonorLock, then I could test 3 people for the price of less than what you're paying for a community college. I'd like to pursue that before I give you a definitive yes or no.
Okay.
If that's not too much of a dodge.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions about the proctoring? Just wanted to know that wanted you to know that it's there if you need it. Okay. And then the last thing that I just wanted to share with you is that we are going to be working with all of the online faculty to revisit and maybe redo some of the lectures for your courses if it's needed and if it's appropriate. Some of our recorded lectures are really just not at the quality level that we want them to be. You look like you're in a dark dungeon cave. The audio is not as clear as we would like it to be. There might be a lot of background distortion because a mic wasn't the best mic. They're just not, they don't project the course or the image that we want for our online courses. So I wanted to give you a heads up that we might be for our online courses, particularly the courses that are used to complete the online degrees. Those are our first priority. We might be coming to you to say, you know, we saw these couple of lectures. Can we work with you to maybe see if we can revise them? If we can do it from a technological fix, re-editing, resplicing, doing that, by all means, we'll pursue that line first. But there might be some opportunities to revisit them, to really make them enhanced. Also, for the courses that are, and it's not just the College of Architecture and Design, we're seeing some of the College of Management courses too, go very heavily to these synchronous sessions, and there may be very few recorded lectures. While that's great, there is still, I want to share with you, a need for content to be presented. So sometimes in some of the classes, I'm concerned that if a module is read the chapter, read the PowerPoint slides, read the article, and post in the discussion board, or watch Linda videos that show you how to do a technological application, I, Lynn, as e-learning, have a problem with that. Students are paying a lot of money, and they want you. They want instruction. If they needed access to tutorials, those are all on YouTube for free. If they wanted to read material that's available in libraries or online or in books that they can purchase, they need you to be present and active in helping facilitate the content. Doesn't have to be 100%, but we do need you to help work with us to help make sure that we're delivering content effectively. So as we go through our courses and convert them to Canvas, we are seeing some courses that we think need a little attention. We're reaching out to the online faculty and to the departments and saying, we would like to target this course for an update, for a refresh, for an enhancement, improvement. And we'll be looking to work on those all of the course attributes, but particularly the lecture pieces.
Len, I have a question.
You bet.
Now, you mentioned earlier statistic, or the little statistic that you showed about synchronous section.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any statistic to show that, like when I record my class, it's a live session, and some of my online students join either synchronously, or some of them even attend the session when they can. They attend on campus. So is there any statistic that shows having a live session with real student in the classroom asking questions improve learning?
Not that I can quote off the top of my head. I was aware of one study that said that students that are watching lectures that are recorded in a live class have a greater sense of, I don't remember if it was loss or isolation, but they feel like they're missing out because they're not able to participate in the class. It's kind of like if you're watching people at a party that you couldn't attend, you feel like you're not able to get the whole experience.
Right.
Most of the research that I've seen about lectures and videos is that the shorter, more targeted videos that are focused on a particular piece of content, where an instructor is speaking directly to them, looking at a camera and sharing a screen and trying to lessen that gap between the instructor and the student, those are more effective lectures. I have seen some research about that, and I'll be happy to share it with you. I can't tell you about
some of the feedback that I get from the online student is I'm glad that I hear the on-campus student asking questions, because I have similar questions.
Yes, good.
So really it will help them, instead of just me sitting down in front of a machine and going through slides or doing a lecture by myself and not having any feedback from the student. So if the student don't understand something, we address it right then and there. Now, I do make my on-campus synchronous session available to my online students, but most of them have conflict in the time, so they won't be able to attend synchronously. But when they can, they do.
Right. So one of the things that you might want to do is kind of blend both of those strategies. Record those lectures, post those lectures, and then have the live questions so you can go through live sessions so you can go through the questions and have those discussions. That might be the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to be mindful of your time. I'm going to move through these next couple of slides quickly. I just want to remind you, you've got lots of options for us to help you with these recordings. As faculty, if you've got access to an LTU laptop, you already have Panopto and Camtasia installed on those. They both do the same things, just little idiosyncratic differences. And here's Panopto, here's Camtasia. You also have the lightboard that's here in my office. We now have a studio space for it, green screen in the background so we can superimpose things. This gentleman right here is giving a lecture on a lightboard. He can write on it and it transposes the image so that it looks quite slick, okay? So you've got all of those options. We will do whatever we can to make it easier for you, but we do want to make sure that we're delivering a quality product to our students. That's what it's all about, okay? Once again, we need you to be visible in the classroom. I don't want our courses to look like we're kind of just subcontracting out our content delivery to lynda.com or YouTube. It's our stuff, it's our courses, it's you, the rockstar faculty. Our students want you. So whether you're doing live sessions and recorded sessions and a blend of all of that, these are all strategies designed to make you very visible and present in the course. Okay. Last thing I want to share with you, for those of you who are around LTU on a daily basis, you know that we're all starting to gear up for HLC. Our Higher Learning Commission accreditation is up in 2020. E-learning is going to be scrutinized. How LTU delivers online classes, HLC looks very closely at that. I think we're going to be in great shape, but I want to make sure that we're putting things in place so that we just sail through it. One of the things I know from talking to my colleagues at other online e-learning or distance education departments at other universities is that HLC had two big questions. Show me how you convert classes to go to online delivery, and show me how you prepare faculty to teach online. So I think we're in pretty good shape as far as how we convert classes to go online. We have development contracts, we have templates, we work with faculty to migrate courses. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Those of you who've worked with e-learning and developing an online course, I'm comfortable with how we've done that. But the thing that I'm less comfortable about is how we prepare faculty to teach online. Many of distance education programs, their offices require faculty to go through a formal training course in teaching online so that their faculty are certified. They're given a credential that says, I know how to teach online. We used to do that many, many, many years ago when Dr. Al McCord was here in e-learning. We drifted away from that. We drifted away from it for a couple of reasons. We started to see that the faculty were already comfortable using the tools. They were the same tools that they were using in their campus classes, so there was less of a jump to use those same tools online. Also, faculty were more comfortable operating in digital spaces. It's kind of how the world of work is and how the world of faculty work is. So they were becoming more comfortable. And thirdly, good teaching is good teaching, whether it's on campus or online. And our faculty here know about good teaching. They know about setting clear expectations and giving students quick and good feedback and how to engage students. They know that. So we drifted away from that. So what I'm really asking just in the few minutes that we have left, your thoughts on, should we reconsider this? Should we go back to or should we go to some kind of a formal training? And would it be helpful or would it be cumbersome? I know you as faculty are very being asked to do so much. And certainly the very last thing I want to do is put up a barrier to get more faculty to teach online. So if you can just take a couple of minutes and just share with me your feedback, or if you don't want to do it now, shoot me an email. I need to know this from you. I don't want to make the wrong decision here. What are your thoughts on that type of formal preparation to teach online? And if you have some suggestions for, these are things I wish I knew when I was teaching online, that Lynn, even if you are still going to do it individually, kind of one-on-one as you work with an instructor, make sure you tell him or her this. Those are the things that I would find very, very helpful. All right.
Do you want us?
Please jump in.
Okay. I can also send you a quick email, Lynn, but I guess one thing that I have found really productive, because of course I can read my own students' course evaluations, and I have a sense sort of the pulse of the class, you know, the temperature of things as they're going through the semester. But I do find it very useful in the past when you've shared kind of best practices or guidelines, where if students, you know, not just my classes, but classes as a whole, you're getting certain feedback that might suggest that some of our new strategies are working or not working. I think having an opportunity to have those shared has been very helpful. Likewise, when you've done workshops, you know, I'm not able to always go to those, but I know that the few times that I have, it's been very helpful. For example, Camtasia, which I'm using now and moved from Panopto, and I find it a much more agile program, and I look forward to using it more. So I guess I think what you're doing already, but maybe even more formalized in terms of, this is what we learned last semester, some key points, some key takeaways. And then if you did identify an area where we're really lacking across the board, I think what you've done in the past with having targeted workshops has been helpful for me.
Got it. Okay, we can certainly do that.
I work with you. Workshop is a good idea for people that have experience in online, but formal training for the new online teachers. Formal trainings that we need for the new people, just walk into that. But people that have been teaching online for years, workshop that gives them a chance to meet with different teachers from different schools, different environments, and they come up with different ideas. So workshop is good for people of experience.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. That is it for my agenda. I'm sorry I'm keeping you over. Is there anything else for the good of all of us who operate in this online instructional space that you would like to discuss, that you have questions about, that there's anything that you can use the group to help solve for you?
So just to have a quick question. If I understand it correct, we want to move on to have more and more synchronized sessions.
What we're sharing is a suggestion that we're seeing that this has, that including these in key opportunity, what we're seeing is if you have some live sessions at key points in your course, those seem to have a very helpful effect for both faculty and students.
I have been using synchronized sessions since I started to teach online, I believe almost 5 years ago, I think I started.
Okay,
I can't remember the time. However, I found that sometimes students burden because they don't really have time to join the session. So they're watching the recording session and then it's not the same.
Right.
So this is why it's like, I don't know what my feelings about it, but each class now requires a synchronized session every week. So a student can take, maybe 2 classes instead of maybe, if he does not have synchronized session, maybe 4 classes, because he can work at his own pace. So I don't know what is your thought about it. So the more synchronized session we're adding, maybe we will have less students, like less classes offered because of that. I'm not sure, just the thought.
We need to talk about what's the purpose of the synchronous session. So it sounds like maybe the synchronous session is taking place of what would possibly be a meeting on campus. So rather than meeting in a room in a building on Tuesday afternoons, we're meeting virtually at a particular space and time. That's one approach. I'm not sure that's always the best approach. It depends on the course and it depends on the content. What I have seen that's been helpful is if there is still asynchronous content, there's still recorded lectures, there's still reading material, there's still other things the students do under their own availability, under their own schedule. And then at very strategically picked places throughout the semester, you have a required synchronous session where everybody comes together, but the focus is on working out a problem, working out a case study, working through a particularly complex set of equations, sharing their designs and getting feedback, debriefing an exam. It's very relevant and it's very strategically placed. You might have 3, you might have 4, you might have 8 throughout the semester. It depends on your content. But what we're seeing is that those tend to be really good. And we're happy to talk more about how we can do them in your course.
I know that students like it from their feedback. For some students, I feel because they had another class, so they couldn't attend, stuff like that. So it's very difficult to find a time that will work for everybody because it's not in banners. So they're not aware of the fact that they have to meet on, let's say, Tuesday night or Thursday night. So that's what I'm saying. And this is now I understand why a student asked me, when do we meet? The first week of the semester. So now I understand why he asked me, when do we meet? And classes.
Also, the more you do this, the more you're getting away from online. It is, usually personally, I force them to get to these sessions by having them to do a demo of their projects. I said, you want your project get graded, okay, schedule a demo. So I have a calendar and everybody book your time, okay, but I'm available, but maybe that might be convenient for other online teachers. But maybe because I have plenty of time, okay? You got to also think of the time available for the teacher to do that, okay?
Right.
And the reason for people teach online, I mean, the student take the class online is to have the freedom, okay? So they can do their homework, they can participate. But maybe having a couple projects that to be demoed that give the opportunity to the teacher and the student and get face-to-face and they know each other, okay? And but there's different ways, okay? And usually the middle is fine. You know, don't have to be extremely this way and extremely this way. Absolutely. And you're not gonna find all the students happy with that. That's a normal. Like right now, we went through all the sessions. Are all of us happy? I don't think so. They're smiling, but some people not. This is life anyway. We have to live with it, you know. So some of the students are gonna like it. Some of the students do not like it. But if they want to take online course, they have to go through it. But let's be reasonable. Being reasonable is a good idea.
Right. You find what works for you and your course. That's the key. That's the key.
I agree. I didn't want to criticize any of the synchronized session. I think it's great. And I would love to do more, but because of time conflict with the students and stuff, so we cannot find. So, but I try to have 2 or 1 session.
That's great. So,
can I
say that it's bad? I just say that sometimes the student who takes the class online, he takes it because of the convenience to do it whenever, whenever he's free to do the task.
I agree.
That's all. But I agree that it's great to have a synchronized session, and actually students feel like they're in a classroom. So,
in the architecture program for the synchronized sessions, we actually have blocked off time. So if you enroll for a class, there's a time slot that is designated for the class. And I will say this implementation was not without conflict in the department. But the way that I use the time slot is we don't meet every single week, but I will have students choose, and based on their groups, the weeks that work best for them. But by enrolling in the class, they're saying that they can be available at certain points through the semester during that time slot. And so far it seems to be working well, because we no longer are dealing with the conflicts that we were previously with trying to schedule the synchronous sessions. And students who enroll in the class aren't surprised to find that, oh, hey, Thursday night at 7 p.m. I need to be online. They know that there's the potential that every other week they might be having a conversation during that window.
Which is sound like office hours, okay? Usually, you have to have an office hours, a weekly office hours or bi-weekly. And people say, okay, I'm available for you guys every Tuesday from 5 to 6. If a student is interested and has a problem with assignment or homework, was worried about the exam or anything, other issues, or even want to talk personally about something bothering him or her or whatever, okay, here is an hour. Well, log in on Google Hangout, and I'm available for you. Same thing like if the teacher is waiting in his office, he's during his office hours, and student comes or doesn't come, he has nothing to do with it.
Right.
I think, and I heard about that too. I hear some of the online courses or online school university, they have the online teacher to designate an hour every 2 weeks, like an office hours, to be online. Student comes or don't come, but he has to be online, he or she. So online office hours is supposed to be stated in the syllabus.
Yep.
And sorry to say that, it has to be mandated also to all the online teachers. You have to do it. If don't hit me, guys. I'm far away anyway.
Thank you. No, you're absolutely right.
And
That's
sorry
it.
for keeping you so late. So.
Oh no, it's great conversation. I wish we could do this more often. Preferably, I mean, I'd love it. We could all do it here over pizza. So, but
can we buy the pizza and you pay for it?
If we could get it together here, I would be happy.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Oh,
saying.
you get pizza.
I buy my own. I
Send me the bill.
ticket, and you pay for it. Is that okay?
I'm sorry, I can't do that one.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I will take your suggestions. We'll work on those best practices and starting to get some more of those workshops and those little things that we're seeing and sending those out to you so that you can use those to inform your own practice as well. Thank you for everything that you do, and know that we are here almost all the time. So please don't hesitate to let us know if there's anything that we can help you with. Okay?
Definitely.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and we will talk with you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Don't forget to stop your recording.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what I'm doing right now. I can
Good.
find